Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss how to handle files in Python. What's a file? File is a collection of bytes of data that is stored in some memory mediums like hard disk, USB devices, or CDs or DVDs. Now, it's a collection of data bytes stored in the memory and given a name. Python is providing a lot of schemes and methods to handle the files. So handling files in Python is very simple and easy. Now, if you want to open a file, if you want to work with a file, first you have to open it in a particular mode. What is the mode? Mode is the purpose for which you are opening that file or the operation you want to carry out on that file. That is called mode of opening a file. What are the usual manipulations we will do on files are adding some content or modifying the existing content or deleting the contents of the file. Now these operations can be divided into three tasks or three operations: reading the data from the file, writing data into the file, and appending data into the file. So reading is the process of reading the content from the file byte by byte or line by line. Then writing is the process of writing something into the file. Appending is the process of writing something into the file. Now what is the difference between writing and appending? Writing will enable you to write the content into a fresh or blank copy of the existing file. Suppose if your file is already having some content, then that will be completely removed and a fresh copy will be written into your file. Then what is appending is the existing content will be retained and at the end you can add the new content. That is called appending. Now, for any role, if you want to open the file, you have to open the file in the specific mode. And what function we have to use is actually open. Open is the predefined or built-in function in Python to open a file. Now, how the open is working, its syntax is like this. Open is the name of the function. Then within set of parentheses, you have to mention the file name. And file name is the name of the file, which is a string enclosed within set of double quotes or single quotes. And it has actually the path where the particular file you are opening is located, as well as the name of the file with its extension. Now, the second thing is the mode of the file or the mode of the file open. So here the mode is again whether you are opening for reading or writing or appending, right? That is what actually mode. So generally mode is the purpose for which the file is opened. Suppose if you are not mentioning any specific mode of opening the file, then read is the default mode of opening a file. So here in this case you are not mentioning any specific mode, but here read will be the default mode. The file will be opened in read mode. Now let us consider one file I have in my computer. For example, uh, Python demo tips. So Python demo tips is actually it's a notepad file. It's a text file and it's having some content in it. For example, it's having some content in it, right? Now what I do is I am going to open this file in my program, right? So here let me call open function, and as we discussed, open function is accepting the path that includes the name of the file as well as its extension as its argument. Now how can I get the path of this file? Let me open the properties, and if you see here, you can see the location or the path of the file. Let me copy that. So let me copy that and paste it into my open function as one of the parameters. And here, as I told you, your file name should contain the location or the path within which your file is located, as well as the name of the file. For example, Python demo tips is the name of the file .txt. It's the extension of the file. Now here the file name is actually it's a string, so it should be mentioned within set of double quotes, right? So now file name is mentioned. So what this will do is it will open your file in the default mode, because I didn't mention any particular mode of opening this file here, and by default read is the mode of default mode in which the files are opening. So here the file is opening in read mode, and it is returning a handle to your file. Handle is a reference to the file for future use. So if you want to operate the file in future, right, you can use the handle and you can perform all your operations on that file. So it will return a reference or a handle to the file, and let us save it in a separate variable file. Now this file is acting as the handle to your file. Now let us print the file handle one time. So print of file, right? Now let us run the code. If you run the code, you can see an error, Unicode error or Unicode escape. Actually, when you are mentioning the names of the files in Python, here we are using single slashes to separate one folder from another folder or one file from another folder. But Python expects you to provide one more slash here, right? So double slashes should be mentioned. And what is the purpose of another additional slash you are mentioning here is actually it's called escape sequence. That means in this string of path of your file, the slash is playing an important role. What role it is playing? It is playing a role of separator to separate one folder from another folder or one folder from another file. So it's having a specific meaning here. So it's not only the part of the string, it's having a special meaning. So any character in the string that's having special meaning is escaped or suppressed by using escape sequence. That means by placing a slash in front of it. So that is what the ultimate aim of this another slash in front of any separator slash in your path of your file. So now let us run the code again. There's no error now, and if you see, the file is opened in read mode. Even the mode not mentioned specifically or explicitly here, the default mode is actually read mode, and in that mode your file is open now. Now if you want to avoid use this double slashes here, then you can do that, right, but with one small provision. What is that provision is, you have to mention as character R in front of your file name. So what is the meaning of that R here? What is the meaning of that R here is actually it's mentioning that it's a raw string. So what's a raw string? Here raw string means this string which is mentioning the name of your file is not having any special meaning. Any of the characters in the string is not having any special meaning. So that's why it's called as raw string. Now the purpose of using double slashes is avoided just by adding one character R and make that string as a raw string. Now if you run the code again the file is created in default mode, right? At the same time, I can explicitly mention the mode of opening the file after this file name within set of double quotes separated by comma. Now I mention read or R as a mode of opening my file explicitly, right? So what will happen? The same will reflect, or the same will happen. The file will open in read mode. The file will open in read mode. But what is the problem here in read mode is, suppose if the file you try to open is not existing, then it will throw an error. Let me open the file which is not existing. Actually python underscore demo underscore tips is not available in my computer. Now I try to open it. So what will happen is, if you try to open a file in read mode which is not existing, then it will throw a error, a file not found error. So file not found error is actually it's showing that the file is not at all available. So if you want to open a file in read mode, the file should exist. Now let me go back to the original file name, file python demo tips. Let me open the file in append mode. What is append mode? If you are opening a file in append mode, then the existing content in the file will be retained. At the same time, you can add something new at the end of the file. So that is what called as append mode. Now you see, if I run the code, the file is now opened in append mode. The file is now opened in append mode. At the same time, if you open the file and check the content, nothing is erased, nothing is removed. The whole content is there within the file itself, right? Now, suppose if I open a file in append mode, but which is not existing, right? Again, the same case, the file which is not existing is opened in append mode. What will happen is, a new copy of that file will be created. That means a fresh copy of that file will be created, right? Now let me run the code again. The file is open. You see a fresh copy of python underscore demo underscore tips is open with empty content. That means a blank file is created. Now again let me go back to the same file, python demo tips. Now let me open the file in write mode. So what will happen when you open a file in write mode? The file is already existing and is having some content. Then content will be completely erased or truncated, and now the file will be made blank. Okay. Now let us check it. So I'm running the main and if you see the file, python demo tips, the existing content of python demo tips is now completely erased. That means the file is made blank and it is ready for the new content, right? At the same time, if you are opening the file which is not existing, okay, which is not existing in write mode, then the the concept is very simple. It will create a fresh file. Okay, it will create a fresh file. So python, you see python underscore demo underscore tips.txt in write mode. Yeah, it's already open, right? So let me give one more, python's demo then underscore tips. Now there is no file with this name. Now let me run the code, right? And if you see python demo underscore tips is created. You see the python demo underscore tips is created, right? So if you are opening a file which is not existing in write mode, then that file will be created, a new file will be created. So this is how the read, write and append modes are working, right? Okay, now let us see how to close a file. But what is the necessity of closing a file, right? So closing a file is very important because you are doing a lot of modifications in your file, right? So at the end, before your program is terminated, right, if your file is not closed explicitly, then all the changes you have done on your file will not be reflecting in the content. That means before terminating the program, your file should be explicitly closed by calling close function, which is a built-in function in python, by using its file handle, so that all the changes, all the updations you've done on that file will be reflecting on that file. Now how to close the file? Let us see how to close our file, right? File handle, so file dot, then function is close, so file dot close, that's all. Okay, so if you call the function file handle dot close, then automatically the file will be closed. So this is how you can open a file in read, write or append mode and how it is working. Now let us see the file accessing modes available in Python. So already we discussed some of the basics of file accessing modes. What is the mode of opening a file is, or accessing a file is, the purpose for which we are creating the file. That is called file accessing mode. So the operation you want to carry out on the file is mentioned as file accessing mode. So there are three basic file accessing modes available: read or simply it's actually read only. So you can just read from the existing file. Suppose if the file is already not available, as we see in the example, it will show an error, file not found. The next one is write only. So write only mode is actually allowing you to write a content into an existing file, and suppose if the file is already available with some content, that content will be erased and a fresh content will be added into that file, right? So that is write only. Suppose if the file is not existing, then that file will be created as a fresh file or as a blank file. Next one is append. Append mode is a variant of the write only mode. That means it will open your file, but the existing content will be retained and you can add the new content at the end of the existing content of the file. Suppose if the file is not available, when you are opening it in append mode, it will be created. A fresh copy of file will be created. Now, three more variants of this read, write and append are available. One is read plus. That's called as read and write. So when you are opening a file in read and write mode, then you can perform only the reading operation. At the same time, writing operation can also be done. But if the file is not available, then it will raise an error as usual. Then if you are opening a file in write plus, mode, it's called write and read. You are opening the file in write mode, so the existing content of the file will be erased and the file will be made blank so that it can accept the new content. At the same time, the file does not exist, it will create a new copy of that file or a fresh copy of that file. At the same time, you can do the read operations also on that file. And next one is append plus. It's called otherwise write and read again, but the thing is here the writing is done at the end of the current content of the file and existing contents will be retained. At the same time, if the file is not existing, a fresh copy or blank copy of the file will be created. So these are all the various file accessing modes. So in this video we have discussed how to open a file with its file name, then its file accessing modes, and how to close a file and all those things. So in the forthcoming videos we are going to discuss how to read from the existing file and how to write into the file and all those things. So keep on watching. Happy programming. Thank you.